Hello, friends. Joe Weaver here with you again on this Thanksgiving Day. I was debating on putting together a live stream or just putting together video and opted with the recording and then uploading. Live streams get a little glitchy and didn't want any mishaps in the middle of this. So, hope you all are enjoying your day. And no matter where you are in the world, on the planet. And so there's a couple things that I wanted to sort of touch on regarding, things. First of all, just my own day here has been very enjoyable. I had Thanksgiving past Sunday with some family, and I cooked a big turkey. And so today I am making turkey soup, and basically just got done everything, put in the pot, making the broth right now where it's got to cook for 3 or 4 hours, and then basically putting together, it's almost like chicken noodle soup, but it's going to be turkey noodle soup. So that's pretty much what I've been up to today, other than just catching up with a few things and enjoying this. It's a little rainy here today in North Carolina, but being fairly nice just to be able to chill out today. So the other thing, for those of you that have been watching my videos for a while, I'm going to be switching up something. At the beginning of the videos, I'm not sure if a lot of you catch it or not, but I say, hello, home crew. What's up, home crew? I wanted to go in a little bit of explanation what that means to me, and the reason why I've been saying it for so long. So, home, basically to me, you could sort of relate it to, Shambhala. And, it's a level of consciousness that, in one way or another, we are all tied to. It's a space of love without conditions. It's a space of, say, unity. And that's the reason why I say home, crew, and I'm relating to everyone basically in this world, no matter who you are, and or that are watching this video. In one way or another, we are already connected to a space of unity and love without conditions. Whether our egos, say, distract us to the point where we don't see that now, but on a multidimensional level of our existence is already connected into peace and harmony, complete harmony and balance. That's another level of our own self. And so for the years, or I don't know how many long, I've been saying, what's up, home crew? I'm relating to you here now, but another aspect of yourself already is home, is already connected with harmony and balance. That's the reason why I've been saying home crew. But from now on, I'm sort of feeling the urge to switch it up. I'm just going to say hello, friends. A lot of people didn't understand, the home crew scenario, but, it's all good. I'm just going to switch it up now, and there's a little background on that part. So going into the other stuff, that we got going on in this world right now, and one of the key, I guess, topics that I wanted to just share. I've had people contacting me in several different ways, private messages, making comments, or doing other things on the information I've been posting on Facebook, and or from my past videos. And so, there's a lot of confusion regarding the changes that are currently taking place within our collective. And so I wanted to share some information so there's more clarity, or the option to have more clarity. regarding the changes that are currently taking place. So, you know, back in 2006 is when I don't even know how many years ago that is from today, 14 or something like that. It's years. So let's see. It was around 2006 is when I wrote my first article regarding the collective changes in consciousness that we are going to be experiencing. And within that article, there's one main thing that stands out that continues to basically, prove itself. The one statement that I made that continues to prove itself. And that is that the levels of manipulation will be much easier to be seen through by the people as time goes on. Meaning that the manipulation and control that's been in place for a very, very long time will be essentially the veil of these levels of control and manipulation is essentially dissolving. And so it will be easier and easier for people to see through, to see the background of who and what and how, what has been going on for the manipulation and control that's been going on in Earth for a very, very long time. And so a lot of different ways, we as been going through the years, and especially in the last year, things have sort of hit the fan, regarding a lot of stuff in the, 3D world, you could call it. So, and it is as these structures of, just to make a relation, in one of my past writings or videos, I said that the levels of ego consciousness within our collective here on Earth essentially is dissolving, and the pressure that is being essentially put on, because the energetics are rising in vibration, putting people in a spaces of making choices to release what they've been holding on to, the beliefs, the limited beliefs, their own, fears, their, deepest worries and so on. Those things are really coming to the surface for people to really face, head on without any delay of what's going on right now. In past years, you talk about, say, 5, 10, 20 years ago, there was a more of a delay in people's awareness to be able to, say, face their own illusions. And so, what is going on now? There's no more delay. So someone recently told me, we got so much stuff going. We got this going on. We got that going on. They're describing to me different things they got going on in their life, and the things that are going on in the people that they know in their lives. So like, oh my gosh, this person has this going on, and this is going on at work, and this is going on here. The biggest difference is that all these things used to happen all the time. All these different variables and these different things happening to people and these different scenarios and so on. The only difference between now and then was, and when I say then, I mean 5, 10, 20 years ago or whatever, is that it's just more things happening at the same time. So everything is sped up. It's an accelerated processing, basically, where before, we were giving time more time to process, our own junk. And so now there is basically everything's moving into the now moment, which basically brings everything to a head. And therefore, there's more things happening at the same time. For the ego, of course, that doesn't make things very easy, because the ego does not like things that are, say, out of its own patterns and or out of, say, it's out of its own comfort zone. And so that's where a lot of things are coming up. The confusion part, the big, confusion, that's so much of the fear and the anxiety, and the anxiety I'll touch more on here in a second. But, the confusion, the confusion energy is actually coming from the people that are in the fence. You could say on the fence. You have, where we all do not see reality in the same way. So we have people that are very much connected, say, with their more of their multidimensional vision, their multidimensional, say, selves. Have already, say, done a lot of work on themselves, that have already faced and mastered their egos to a point where they're able to get in touch with more of their multidimensional remembrance and their own multidimensional vision, to be able to see things multidimensionally from a multidimensional perspective. Then we have a lot of people that are really getting sort of like, sort of know a little bit about energy, can feel energy, can sense energy, but they're sort of still in the mix of a lot of different things that are, say, transitioning with the, not only their own selves, but a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. And so we got a lot of people making choices, a lot of choices being, say, with the confusion, sort of like, what sort of I'm seeing is a lot of people are confused, because the way that it used to be, and regarding political stuff, because that's very much apparent right now. The way that things used to go regarding political views was fairly cut and dry. It was a lot more, say, cleaner in a way, from a perspective that a lot of people might view, say, years and years ago. Now everything's like really up in the air. And as I personally have shared in the past video, I don't vote. And so when I'm sharing information, I'm not seeing what I'm sharing is connected with a political view. I'm simply sharing information to assist people in through their own personal transformation, and being able to master their own ego, and to be able to ride these changes that are currently taking place on Earth in, say, harmony and balance, to be able to be in tune with the current changes taking place on Earth. So that's where I'm sharing this information. It's not a political side, even though some people may categorize it as a political, tied into a political view, which I do not. So when we got these, a lot of things going on within the political spectrum, and some of the things I'm sharing basically is, viewed over here or over there or whatever, and they're like, how can, talking about freedom, because freedom is so much, categorized in with, say, a political view right now. And how could, this is where the confusion comes on. People trying to process the how and why, regarding the stuff coming up. The one main thing that's coming to me to describe this is the confusion in itself. The best way that I can describe it, from what I'm seeing, is the pathway, as I wrote in one of my past articles, the pathway to peace. Beyond all of the variables that are out there for us to essentially move through, the essential base of our progression into, say, more of unity consciousness and or unity as a collective on earth, the base of that is based in respect for one another, honoring the free will of one another, and so on. And so when I'm talking about freedom, I'm talking about the restrictions that are being imposed and are proposed on restricting the free will of others. And regardless of anything else there is going on in the world right now, in order for us to basically manifest a world of, say, a reality of harmony and balance, prosperity for all, and so on, it has to say the basis of that is honor and respect the free will of one another. That is it. That is basically the basis. If you say the groundwork, the dirt, the actual wholeness in itself is what everything grows out of in a natural, say, in our natural progression into, say, the new earth. So that's where, the confusion that I'm seeing, that people are posing questions about, that they've contacted me and so on, is, they're struggling with everything that's going on in all these different variables. But the biggest thing is, it's beyond all the different variables and different things and all this other stuff. What it comes really down to is honor and respecting each other, honoring and respecting the free will of one another. The fear part that is so much involved in that, when things start feeling like they are getting out of control, when the ego itself feels like things are getting out of control, it will want to basically lock in. It will want to basically hold things to where, I don't like this. This stuff is getting out of control. That's where, self-mastery, mastering the ego, all comes in. This is not some kind of mystical, say, thing going on. It actually is real. Every single thing regarding mastering the ego and the changes that are currently taking place. So my biggest suggestion is, regarding the fear and the confusion, is to see that there is literally nothing right now. There is nothing out of control. Every single thing that's in place and is happening right now, it's going to happen in the coming months and so on, there is nothing out of control. Every single thing that we are being essentially experiencing and the different ways we are experiencing, nothing's out of control. We are being presented with exactly what we need in order to make the changes we need in order to adjust with the changes that are taking place. So nothing is out of control. If the ego starts feeling the fear because changes are taking place, it's just part of what's taking place that's been in motion for a very, very long time, years and years and years. Everything now is just coming to a head more at the same time because we're moving into the now, more of the now moment. And I've talked about the now moment in past videos and writings. So I don't want this video to go on and on. But I do want to just share some main points. And the next point is talking about the anxiety. And I'm probably going to do a separate video on just anxiety in itself, but I really wanted to share just a few things about this. Anxiety, to me, and you have anxiety and then you have worry. A lot of people mix. They might not see the difference between worry and anxiety. but there is a difference. Worry, to me, is on the same level of energetic vibration as guilt. It's a worry that basically somebody basically lives in. It's a space of energy. And so they're continually worrying. They worry about everything. You could worry about walking out the door. You could worry about worry this, worry that. When I'm speaking of anxiety, anxiety in itself is the process of our mental mind over processing things. It's basically spinning like a hamster on a wheel at an accelerated rate. That's basically what anxiety is. Even though worry and anxiety have to deal with focusing projections into the future, again, that's out of the now moment, of course, but both are projections into the future, which is correct. But the anxiety is different in a way that basically it's tied into intelligence. So anxiety is tied into the mental intelligence. The reason why it's tied into mental intelligence is because the mental mind has progressed and or evolved to a point where it's able to see a bunch of different variables at the same time. Basically, and is going through these different variables and these different options and or pathways. You could call them pathways, that are saying, well, if I take this decision and it goes down this pathway, this is what's going to happen. And within the anxiety, in the mind of the anxiety, basically it's continually over processing things to a point where it's over accelerated. There's nothing wrong with processing things and or looking at options and seeing how they play out. But at the same time, when you do it to a point where your physical body is, stressed out and you're affecting your health, because you're affecting your projections too much into the future. So therefore, the anxiety, the best way to, I gave this suggestion to somebody, a couple of weeks ago that I had a private session with, and it was a remote private session, and they, were going through a lot of different things regarding, over processing. So one of the main things is to remember with anxiety is that it's actually tied into intelligence. Expanding of consciousness means you're actually gaining, say, more intelligence. The overprocessing in itself becomes addictive, just like any other level of our consciousness and or fear. Like a fear becomes an addiction, just like worry or, all these other things. They're patterns. So in order to create a new pattern, the best an example that I gave to, again, some of the people that I've worked with, say, on a private session level, is learn to catch yourself when try to catch yourself when you're going into that space of anxiety. Catch yourself when you are over processing. You're continually running loops. You're looking at the variables and you're all these different things that are playing out within the reality. And you're like, this is stressful. The reason why it's stressful is because you're over processing it. So in order to catch yourself, in order to change that pattern, you have to catch yourself. You have to observe yourself to the point where you're saying, and every single time you catch yourself creating a new pattern through your breath, as soon as you start sensing yourself over processing about what the heck's going to happen, say, with the economy, with the politics, with the stuff going on in reality, the stuff you're being faced with, all these different things, you catch yourself soon. At the split second you catch yourself, you breathe in through your nose and then you breathe out through your mouth. At that split second you catch yourself. The first thing is to catch yourself. Second thing is to reset. Basically, you could basically call it a reset. You're resetting your focus by your breath. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit in meditation. The main thing is to basically change this pattern for what I'm talking about. It's a matter of doing it throughout your day. While you're walking down the street, you're walking on the stairs, you're grocery shopping, you're eating, you're hanging out with people, you're talking to people. When you start over processing, you start going into that space of very stressful anxiety, catch yourself, boom, split second, breathe, tell yourself intention, reset. You tell yourself reset, refocus, bring your awareness back into the now. That is what I'm calling the anxiety reset. So if you do that, most people know, to a degree, that it takes approximately 21 days to change an addiction. And to change really patterns, this is something you have to do for a period of days or weeks to really basically start creating patterns that are more focused in the now moment. And anytime that the anxiety starts getting up and you start feeling stressed, again, recenter yourself. And it's incredibly easy just to take a breath. Reset. Clear basically what you were thinking about. Recenter yourself. Every single thing, as I mentioned, there is nothing out of place for what is taking place right now. I'm, feeling in the next couple months are going to be incredibly interesting. And I want to say that basically, even though some of the stuff to some people, what I'm sharing in different ways or making comments or sharing on Facebook or whatever else, we're at a critical juncture within our changes taking place here on earth. Even though some of the things I say or whatever might be very much in people's face, in your face right now, and you're like, wow, that's offensive, or that's really strong, or whatever else. I'm doing that for a reason, because that's basically what we're at. This is not an environment like 10 or 20 years ago, and it's not going to go back to an environment like 10 or 20 years ago. One of the other interesting things is when I've had some conversations recently with people, is that they are saying, they're talking about other family members or something like that, and people are really, say, facing their stuff, their own junk, their own illusions. Family members talking about other family members behind their back, and they're now starting to feel it, and they're starting to say, contact the other family members and try to make amends and or share their deepest regrets and or things that are going on, and they're just like processing all this stuff. So those are the main things. Keep this video as short as possible. It's an acceleration of processing taking place on a lot of different levels, from a multi-dimensional levels. It's not that one thing may be viewed in this level in a certain way, but there's a reason why it's taking place in this way, because on another level, basically, it you could say the 3D illusion is going away. And do what you need to do to basically say, as the Dalai Lama used to say, do what you got to do to be happy. In a lot of different ways, you can't put off all this junk and these beliefs and everything else that you've been holding on to and these false perceptions and expect to basically be peaceful and to live in peace. The basis of all of that, underneath all of the distractions and everything else that are going on, and all of the fears and all the different junk, is honor and respect. Respect the free will of not only truly tapping into what that means, but start living it in a way. Release the illusions and the distractions and the old perceptions that have been carried over. You've been carrying over for years and years. That is still very prevalent within the, say, traditional media and so on. There are other truths. Just because, say, a scientist says this, that is the all-encompassing truth. That is not correct. And or a medical professional says this, it is the all-encompassing truth. Everything is evolving, including the truths for which exist. Everything is changing. People, doctors, scientists, everything else are like, things are accelerating. Like the truth of what was going on 5 years ago is now changed into something else. Truths are changing. And that's the same thing with beliefs. Release the beliefs. Connect in with your own inner discernment. It's the same words that a lot of people have been sharing throughout the years. The only difference is that now, right now, everything is just more stuff happening at the same time, just like cogs coming together of a wheel. They were separate, now they're coming together. It's different levels of reality merging. Basically, that's what's taking place. So, cheers out, my friends. I'm going to go check on the turkey soup and enjoy the rest of this day. I hope you all are having a nice one. Cheers, my friends.